Joining us now, criminal defense attorney Jeremy Saland. He is also a former Manhattan prosecutor. Good morning to you. This case has been tough to listen to. It's easy to say in the first 4 days. I mean, this testimony has been graphic. It's been disturbing. They've gone into a great deal of the sexual violence. What do you think has been most consequential so far in Cassie's testimony?
Well, I think the prosecution has done a good job laying out that she is a victim of this ongoing abuse. And the point of that is not to say just that Diddy is a bad guy and Sean Combs is a physical domestic abuser. It's more to establish that lack of consent, that coercion, that force, and then ultimately that fraud when you're building this pinnacle up to this alleged enterprise, this criminal enterprise for that conspiracy to commit racketeering. That is not an easy task. And the defense on the flip is acknowledging, hey, Diddy's a bad guy. You may not want him to date your sister, but being a bad guy does not mean he had that intent and that action to build that pyramid that I just mentioned before, that racketeering conspiracy. So it's tough for the defense to parse that out without beating up Cassie, because you don't want to do that to a pregnant woman on the stand, but at the same time trying to show that she was in there voluntarily, whether by love or by seeing stars in her eyes.
Right. And it becomes a question of character, questionable character versus criminal acts. How critical, though, Jeremy, is that video? I mean, the jury got to see the video of her on the ground being kicked by Combs in that hotel.
You know, I'd say it's critical until it's not. And what I mean by that, it's diminishing returns. At some point, you're going to sort of numb the jury about this. And I don't want to minimize the conduct. And remember, Diddy's team isn't running away from it. Yes, I did those things, and I apologize. I'm a bad actor. I did bad things. But that on an island does not mean that the entirety of this relationship was that coercion and control and force. And you see some text messages, I believe just from today, I think it was earlier, where she's confronted with her own words about wanting to or be willing to engage in the freak offs, but she doesn't want to do ketamine. In other words, I'm doing this voluntarily, despite saying that I was always drugged. I love you. I'm jealous of Kim Porter. So they're slowly, I don't know if you say poking holes like a colander, but they're taking some shots here and there. And it's difficult without attacking with this pregnant woman on the stand and trying to minimize that credibility.
I think it's important, Garagos's point is this is early on in this trial. We've got a lot more witnesses that will take the stand, and she is just one alleged victim. As they start to build this case out, who will be especially important that you'll be looking to hear from?
Well, I think it's an accumulation of all the witnesses, and both inside and out, meaning not just the quote unquote victims or the alleged complainant and victims, but other parties as well. And it's going to be everyone's words. It's going to be the words that you see in the text messages. It's going to be the transactional records for the flights of these, escorts allegedly coming into locations across state lines. So you're building this piece by piece, brick by brick. And I think he was correct when he said, don't look at this like an ESPN back and forth, in real time. You have to look at the big picture. Context is important. Yes, I may love you and other people may love you, but that does not mean at time one, it may have been consensual. At time 2 or 3, it may not have been. But the question remains, is this really a state assault, domestic type case? Or is this really a conspiracy? A conspiracy to use this really legitimate company selling businesses and, clothing and music to have transporting and trafficking of women with coercion and force. That's a heavy lift. That's a heavy lift for the government.
All right. Well, we'll see how it plays out. Final day of testimony for today happening right now. Jeremy Saland, thank you for your time, sir.
My pleasure.
Former FBI